Sure, because now you got all kinds of people that are out there saying, hey, that's me, so how do I stir up those embers?
Oh, exactly, exactly. Well, I look at this from a very, I think, practical, down-to-earth manner. When you ask somebody, what's your favorite chapter in the Bible? You ever watch how people choose passages? They'll say, I like the 23rd Psalm. I just love those. The Lord is my shepherd. And they start just drifting off into this. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down beside green pastures. So it's peace and calm. And I'm the sheep, and he cares for me. And somebody else says, I like Psalm 91. This is my wife who passed away. Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And someone else says, well, it's this or that. I think some of the most exciting things in the Bible about heaven are not what the Bible tells us, but what the Bible doesn't tell us. What I want to get across, and I try to develop this idea, is that heaven is the culmination of our deepest desires. Desires like beauty. We all desire beauty. In the Old Testament, Eden is a place of beauty. It's called paradiso in the Greek New Testament, the Septuagint. In Revelation, heaven is called paradiso. We get beauty. We want peace. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Jesus said, I am the shepherd, you are the sheep. And who's in me, whoever's in me, they go out and they find pasture. Revelation chapter 7, he's a lamb on the throne in Revelation 5. It's almost like he gets off the throne in verse 7. Now he's a shepherd, we're the lambs, and he leads us out to springs of water and he wipes away all tears from our eyes. This idea that's culminated in heaven, it's peace. How about a fortress, protection? In Psalm 91, God's a castle, God's an eagle. Jesus said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, I've wept over you. I've called you to myself as a mother hen calls her chicks, and ye would not. And of course, in the book of Revelation, God's a fortress. What I'm saying here is the deepest ideas that stir the embers of our heart like no others. Beauty, peace, rest, fellowship. There's a good one. The Old Testament, it's the marriage supper. It's the Thanksgiving feast. Jesus says, many will come from the east and the west and sit down in the kingdom with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And of course in Revelation 19, the marriage supper of the Lamb. I think God doesn't tell us everything we're doing for eternity, but he stirs the embers of our hearts by saying, hey, peace, beauty, fellowship. Wouldn't you just, and you start going, oh, give it to me. And a couple other things. Knowledge. I think we're going to be able to learn and grow, and I think there's passages that say this. Ephesians 2:7. Throughout the ages to come, he's going to continue to show us grace in Christ Jesus. Well, I just think that if God's going to show us grace, we're going to continue to learn. And I think living, exploring, learning. Now I look through glass darkly, but then I'll see face to face. I think for the person who's a volitional doubter, two suggestions. Get him early, where the embers are still going. And secondly, study with them about positive and negative reinforcement, you might say. Talk to them about heaven, and talk to them about the dangers of judgment. And try to wake up in them and see what's going on. Very frequently it's this. Volitional doubt is often caused by sin. This is one of my topics I don't like talking about, but I do not think we in America have the right view of sin. Here's our view of sin. I think I'll do it for a few minutes, wash my hands, it'll all be gone, I'll say I'm sorry, and it's over. Sin leaves a mark. It scars. And we all know when we participate in it, it's easier to participate in the next time. People prefer the sin over the Lord. I agree with John Piper. The best reason not to sin is not because you shouldn't sin, you shouldn't sin, you shouldn't sin, you shouldn't sin. The best reason not to sin is because you love someone else more. Why am I faithful to my wife? I'm faithful to my wife because I love her above anything else the earth offers. Not because I've got to be there. And if we want heaven above all else, the battle's over. If you prefer God to your sin, you prefer heaven to hell, you prefer well done, good and faithful servant to judgment, you're on the road. And I think we need to I'll take a step back, we need to stir those embers while they're real hot and keep them hotter all the time. This is a real world out here where people are really suffering, but I'm going through that world too. And if I'm not stirring the embers in my heart, I'm in danger. let him that thinks he stands take heed lest he fall.
Okay, let's say that there's a guy that's listening, a lady that's listening, that's saying, you know, that's me, I'm in the church, and the fact is the embers seem to be going out, and I'm exactly the way you describe. What do I do? What step do I take immediately?
Well, we've been saying on all these programs on doubt that if there's a key, it's in your thought life. It's what you tell yourself. Usually you sin in your thoughts before you sin in your actions. You usually get victory in your thoughts before you get victory in your actions. I think the key is, while those embers are still burning, to say to yourself, do I want heaven or hell? Do I want victory or do I want sadness? Do I want the greatest theme in the universe is, here's how I define heaven, that I can fellowship with the God of the universe and with my Christian loved ones forever. And I don't even get the sentence out before I'm going, oh, Lord, that's fantastic. Especially when, you know, we have loved ones. I told somebody the other day, the older I get, the more and more heaven is looking better and better, because that's where the fellowship is. That's where loved ones are. That's what's going on. I think what we do is we stir these things continually, every day. C.S. Lewis said in his book on the problem of pain, he said, there are days when I think about heaven too much. But there are more days when I don't think about heaven enough. He said it dominates my thoughts. It's what I long for. It's the object of joy. And to keep heaven before our thoughts, I think, is to be happy, to be well adjusted. Here's a thought. If Christians only realized that what we do with Christ after salvation determines the capacity to which we will enjoy eternity, we would all be far more fully committed. That's an example of stirring the embers while they're still glowing and not trying to relight the ones that go out.